So in here with us, we have Lynn Bell, who is our team leader. So she's going to be over the whole umbrella of the current workflow. Underneath Lynn are 3 dispo agents or dispo managers, and those dispo managers are going to be your go-to people for your particular market that you're assigned to. So for the dispos, we have Rob Seamet. Hey, Rob. We have Aji. I don't know if Aji can turn on your camera and say hi. It'd be nice for everyone to be able to meet you.
Don't forget to mention their markets.
Yeah. So Rob is going to be doing Dallas. Aji is going to be doing Jacksonville. Josh York, who's in transit, isn't going to be able to be on this meeting, but he's going to be working Atlanta. So those are the 3 markets that we're currently in, and those are your go-to people. So each one of you as acquisition, we've assigned you to a particular market. And just to rattle that off quickly, let me sort this by market real quick. So in Atlanta, we have Michelle Henriquez, George Medina, and William Webb. In Dallas, we have Jonelle, Brittany, and Ryan. And in Jacksonville, we have Rayhan, Carlos, and Charles Galvin. So those are your teams, and those are your team leaders. I should say your dispo that you'll be working with. So as you're getting deals closed, they'll go through the CRM to the dispo manager that's working that area. And Lynn Bell is over all of those 3 dispos. So she'll be assisting them to be able to make sure that the deals that you put under contract are actually dispoed. We have on here as well, Mike Jones. And you probably all know Mike from the Discord for the Elephant Challenge. So we were very pleased that Mike decided to join us and help out here. He's our systems administrator. He's got a lot of knowledge with the CRM, which is RE Simply, as well as with Discord. And you name it, Mike's got knowledge in it. So he'll be helping a lot on the back end. We don't want him inundated with questions that he doesn't need to be inundated with. So if he's putting into the support sections of Discord different videos and different helps dealing with certain subjects. But if you can't find the answer and you're struggling, Mike's there for that purpose. Alex also is delving into the CRM so that he can be of assistance as well. So, number 1, try to figure it out through those helps. But if you can't, Mike and Alex are there to help you to answer any questions you have with the technology side of things. And we're going to be establishing emails too. That's in process. We actually have the email set up, but we're setting up the aliases, and then we'll give you probably a Loom video or help to be able to set up those emails within the Gmail type interface, so that you'll be able to map out your emails and do it straight from Gmail. The idea behind the emails is that your property finders, they will be out there sending out offers through this email address with their own alias, but they're acting as a pre-filter for you. So if they're putting in 20 offers a day, many of those offers are not going to be entertained. So you don't have to spend your time dealing with a seller that's not motivated enough to entertain the offer, at least to start the negotiation process. So they're the pre-filters for you, but that'll be in your inbox so that any of them that they sent offers out to that actually want to talk and negotiate, you'll have that in your inbox, so that your job will be to pick up on those and start the negotiation and closing of those contracts. So that's your main workflow, is number one, negotiating and closing those contracts that are in your inbox. Number two, training up your property finders, because a lot of these are brand new. They never done a deal. Some of them have done deals, but they need your assistance. They need your guidance to improve so that they're making the right offers in the right areas, and you know their workflow is smooth. If they're not making very many offers, perhaps they need guidance to know how to make more offers and better offers. And then your number three goal is to build rapport with these agents so that they'll want to bring you pocket listings. So we're building an agent referral system at the same time. Any questions on that, on your general workflow as acquisition managers? So within the CRM, it will help us with that workflow. The way it's going to work with the property finders is they're going to have a portal, and they're going to enter in all of the data into this portal so that it'll be accessible in the CRM for you as a lead. And then when you get the information back in your email that's saying, yeah, that number doesn't work for my seller, but he wants to know if he can counter at such and such. Well, you can go to the CRM and you can find that information that was entered into the portal and have a foundation to work off of. You know, you'll know that conversation that already happened between the property finder and the agent, and you're not starting from square one. You're picking up where they left off, and you have all of that, their research set up right there for you. So that's the first step, is that information coming in from that portal in the CRM and the email indicator that they have interest in negotiating. After you've negotiated and closed, then you enter that information into the CRM, and it can move from you to Dispo. Of course, to make the deal happen, there's going to have to be typically an EMD, right? The Gator funds. So we have in our list, when people signed up for this, they indicated whether they want to be a Gator or not. So there's an entire list of Gators that are available to be able to fund these deals. If, you know, what we want is you guys that are working on these deals, whether you're the acquisition or your property finders, you guys have been doing the hard work to bring this deal to the table. You guys should have first choice of EMD. If you want to be the EMD for that, you and your team, you know, that's available for you to be the Gator, and that's like an extra check for you. You know, so you guys did the hard work, you merit it. But keep in mind too, we want to promote a feeling of mutual assistance. So be self-sacrificing as well. Offer it to your property finders if they want to be the Gator, so that, you know, you're the one that's negotiating and closing. You're in control of that contract, but don't leave out your property finders, because at the end of the day, you have a team working underneath you. You should be making 3 times as much money as they are. So just have that in mind. We're not saying that you can't take the Gator for yourself, but we want everyone to have the mindset of helping each other out. We're all here for each other, lifting each other up to the next level. So just like you're going to be helping out the property finders, your Dispo manager is going to be helping you out. And the goal is that after a little while, you know, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 3 months, you move from an acquisition manager to a Dispo manager. So everyone is working their way up to gain skills. That's right, progress. Gain skills, get a higher paycheck, and become more well-founded and more well-rounded as a real estate investor. So in our group here today are the Dispo managers. So there's currently 3. Our goal is in a month to 3 months, there's 6 Dispo managers. And then we have another team manager. Right now, Lynn Bell is our only team manager, but we want to add a second team manager and a third team manager. So you guys as acquisition, we want you to really take your role as acquisition and be a leader, lead those property finders, help them out, and then move into dispo and be a leader there, and then move into team managers. Any questions on that? Any comments? So we are really happy that you're all here. We really appreciate all of you. And please look at the different people that are in this process as your coworkers, your team, and your help. So above you, you have dispo, and you have team manager, and you have us as owners, and Mike as the systems guy. Mike is more than just systems, by the way. He's got a ton of experience, but we're all there for you, just like you're there for the property finders. And we want everybody to be successful. As far as actually negotiating and closing, if you don't have experience, we're happy to have some assistance in gaining that experience. Within the help sections, there's videos to help you to know how to negotiate and close. But everybody here, all the acquisition people have experience. That was part of the qualification to make you an acquisition person, is that you've already negotiated and closed deals. But just because you've done 1 or 2 deals, you may not feel like, man, I'm an expert at this. But the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it, so that you become an expert. And please look to your dispo people that, whoever you're under, they have more experience than you, and they'll be helping you. So you have questions, go to them. They're there for you. So any comments so far? Man, you guys are a quiet group of people.
I was gonna say, just excited.
Yeah.
I think this is awesome. I think it'll gives us all an opportunity to just learn from each other, sharpen our skills, and just get better at everybody's here because we love real estate, and I think it just gives us a chance to get much better. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Charles.
And I was going to say now, just ask any questions that you may have. Again, communication between all of us is going to be the key. So we're going to have to really communicate anyway. So I think the more questions we ask and the better we get to know each other, we can help each other more that way as well. So any questions that's out there, feel free to ask them. We're all here to help each other. I mean, some people may be newer, some people may be more experienced, but we're all here together. So it really doesn't matter your level of experience. We just want to help.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, do you want to mention about the market-specific Discord channels?
Okay, so this is a new structure. Hopefully all of you are learning or getting better at using Discord. And right now, all of you in Discord are seeing the basics for each role, which is mostly some categories and channels for property finders and acquisitions and dispositions. It's mostly training or how to ask a specific team just a general question. What you will have very soon is a market-specific category. So you'll have an Atlanta category, Jacksonville operations, Dallas-Fort Worth operations. And in that section, each team of acquisitions folks will have their own grouping of property finders talking to them. So if Brittany is Jack's team 1 and Jay is Jack's team 2, they can see the other conversations, but they're only going to worry about and focus on their team. And Aji is the dispo manager for Jacksonville. So she will also be seeing both of your teams, so that when you bring a deal that you've already been talking about with your property finder over to Aji, if she needed more details or missed something, or there's something to dig a little deeper into, she'll be able to see that conversation based on your team. But you'll bring that to the dispo person separate from the property finders. So when you actually have a deal for Aji, you'll go to the Jack's Disposition 1 team. And that's because IG will also have a counterpart at some point who will be the second dispositions person in Jacksonville, or whatever the structure requires. Every market will start to grow and flex a little bit differently. I will do a video explaining this more visually and in more detail, but essentially your property finders will have a training area. They'll have a couple channels they can ask general questions on, but you really will only need to focus on your team and your conversations with your team. So you'll have a CRM on one side, which will have the actual submissions, and you'll have Discord, which will be just general conversations. It's not going to be just the numbers. It's going to be about details that you need, or hey, you need to get some more information on this property or this thing. You can do that in the CRM, but it's no CRM really handles messaging very nicely. So Discord gives you a lot more conversational ability, and keep it all in your team conversation. Don't do DMs. If they start DMing you and it's stuff that everyone needs to know, put it out there transparently so everyone sees it, everybody learns. Otherwise, you're going to end up answering the same question 20 times like I do in the Discord for everything else. And every so often I'll just say, screw it, and I'll put it into the public area. But don't, even if you just have to, instead of answering them directly, take it, copy paste their question and say, great question just asked, here's the answer. That way your whole team knows, your dispo manager knows, Lynn knows, and if Lynn or your team manager for your area eventually knows and they want to make it a universal thing, we'll apply it universally. So it's not just for you, or we'll apply it with market differentiation. So if it applies to Jacksonville but not Atlanta, we can just say, as this is for Jacksonville, this is it for Atlanta, but all the other line items in the buy box are the same. That way everyone has full transparency about what we're doing, what we're looking for, how we're applying things, even though some market changes will be needed. But I will do specific Discord trainings just so that you know where to look, what to ignore, because you can just turn off notifications and mute channels and categories that you don't care about. But you'll still have access to things, so that whether it's Brittany and Jay, who are an awesome couple team, or somebody else that's in acquisitions in their market, they can flow and back each other up in different teams, as well as Dispo being able to dive in and jump in as needed, as well as Lynn, as well as basically, like, think of it as everyone above you is actually your backup partner in some way, shape, or form. So you're not going solo. You have each other to lean on at your peer level, but everyone above you is essentially there to step in as much capacity as possible, because you're being transparent in communication. So everyone has the same information. There's no special treatment. There's no, trying to give someone some information and somebody else different information. Everything's identical across the board. And when there's differentiations, it's usually going to be market specific, or in some cases, which we have right now, Jorge is pursuing, instead of on-market deals, he's going to be pursuing a specialized list. So his criteria might be slightly different, but as Ralph explained in the opening training last week now, the criteria is going to be, if it's on market, it's going to be the same on market everywhere, with just the specific changes that unique to the market. Same thing with certain lists. It might be universal across the board, or there might be some slight market differences. But if you have, I forget the name of the list that Jorge's using, but if he has that type of list in Jacksonville or Atlanta, if we apply that to Dallas-Fort Worth, we're going to apply it as closely as possible to what Jorge used and proved and worked. And we're going to try to replicate success everywhere by using these systems to keep everything lined up and clean and neat. And then if something has to change for the market, we will adjust for that market. But everyone's going to know why we adjusted for that market, because disposition said the buyers are pushing back, because acquisition says that there's some reason that the property finders are getting some kind of issue making deals or offers on properties, or whatever the situation is. We're going to all communicate about it and make sure that it's addressed and not just, ignored or swept under.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and each team is going to be working with each other on a weekly basis. So Rob and Dallas, he has, for example, his 3 people, which are William Webb and George Medina and Michelle Enriquez. So Rob can, talk to you guys and see what time is best to get together, but to make sure that channel of communication is there, so that if you guys need to, if things are going well, you can let him know, and that can be input for the others. If you're having a challenge, you can bring that out, and Rob can give you some pointers, as well as the other acquisitions within your team, within your market, can also say what they're doing, so that you all mutually help each other out. Same thing with Aji. So Aji is a team leader in Jacksonville, and Aji has on her team Rehan, Carlos, and Charles Galvin. So Aji will be leading that weekly meeting, and same thing I mentioned as with Rob. So Aji and your group will be talking about what's working and what's not working, and basically helping each other out. At the same time, once a week, all of the Dispo people, meaning Aji and Rob and my mind keeps blanking out. What's his name?
Josh.
Josh, thank you.
Sorry,
They're
Josh,
gonna
my
be
mic was
together.
off, Josh.
Yeah, and they're going to be comparing notes, so that all that cross communication is happening, and we're all building each other up, and we're finding what's working and what's not working and fine tuning it. Dallas market is not the same as Jacksonville. It's not the same as Atlanta. So there's going to be variations, but there's also going to be similarities that we can use to build each other up. Any comments from the Dispo people that would like to add your say in this?
Aji, do you want to go?
Go ahead, Rob.
Well, so I'll be handling DFW. I see Brittany and Ryan and Janelle here. Awesome. We're gonna crush it. We're gonna beat all the other teams.
I like the way that started off.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think of it, we're a team, and we're gonna be open and try to collaborate as much as possible. Because if we can all go, 1,000%, it's better than trying to do our individual thing and not maybe hitting as high as we possibly could. So I'm all about collaboration and sharing of ideas, and how can we make our processes better? How can we offer a better product? How can we do more deals? And I think we have a great group of people here from the top down. I think it's going to be great.
So Ralph, can you confirm that everyone in acquisitions is assigned to a region now?
Yes. To
Okay.
read it off, so Atlanta is Michelle, Jorge, and William. Dallas is Janelle, Brittany, and Ryan. And Jacksonville is Rehan, Carlos, and Charles. So Aji, did you want to say anything?
I'm just excited to get started, probably we'll have a chat with the team, to kind of see how we can get started, I'll be doing a little bit of research in my market. That way I could share it with them. More communication in the Discord. Charles, you're in my team, right?
Correct, yep.
Charles and Carlos. Rehan is not here. Probably send him a message later. Yeah.
And Janelle, is it Muno or is it Kunda?
I actually have 2 last names, so it's either or.
Okay, whatever flips your boat, as they say.
Yes.
Float your boat. You
Float
want the
your boat.
float.
Yeah, float is better than flip, I guess.
Well, it's real estate related. I get
Flip the
Never
house,
left your house.
Yeah. All right, cool. Jorge, you said you have Michelle twice in Atlanta in sheets. Which sheet are you talking about?
The Google Sheet that you sent over, I believe it was this morning.
Okay, I think you're talking about the property finder assignments sheet.
Yeah.
So everyone can pick 5. And the idea behind that is that, you know, maybe some of you as acquisitions have called the people you've been working with and said, come on in, you can be property finders in the system. And if you have people that you already know or that you prefer to be on your team, we wanted to give you that ability to choose who's going to be on your team. That was an email I sent out a couple hours ago, so that you know, you have that option. If you don't have anybody that you prefer, don't worry about it. We'll just fill it in, and we're trying to equalize it. So we mentioned that you can pick one person that's 31 or more hours, one person that's 21 to 30 hours, and then 3 people that are 15 to 20 hours. That way everybody gets about the same man hours of help on the property finder side. But this is a first come, first serve on this. If you don't pick anybody, no worries. We're just going to fill in the blanks and try to keep it as equal as possible. Michelle being on there twice, that's to be expected because everyone should be on there 5 times.
Oh, okay.
5 times within the system, but only once for 31 or more and only once for 21 to 30. And actually, it looks like with 9 acquisitions, if you can only pick at this point just one 31 or more, or one 21 to 30, and we'll fill in the rest with 15 to 20, or you can pick the rest from 15 to 20. That way somebody, you know, we want everybody to get at least one of 31 or more, or one of 21 to 30 minimally. Make sense?
Yep. Makes sense.
Any other questions?
Yeah, also, I just, since I like, as we talked yesterday about the list that I can get, do you want me to search for a list for the other regions that we're doing as well and help them out, or just stick to mine?
Definitely not. So what we want is everybody to be doing privy. Everyone here, all the property finders have a foundation of working with privy, of the elephant challenge. That foundational knowledge is what's going to make the system flow smooth. So if we have too many people trying to do other things, then everyone's going to get confused. Jorge pulled a list of code violations in Atlanta. So what we're going to do when we talk to the property finders is see if anybody does not have privy. And if they want to work with Jorge in particular, because of the fact they don't have privy, that might be an option for them if they can't afford privy. So that will be something specific only to Jorge for the on market. Later on, we're going to be adding various channels and acquisition managers for those channels. So right now we're doing the on market privy. Later on, we'll be doing things like code violations, like pre-foreclosure, like FSBO, like, what do you call it? My mind just blanked out. When somebody dies.
Probate.
Probate, thank you. And various channels that will be assigned an acquisition manager for that particular channel. So Atlanta might have one acquisition manager that's just doing probate, and another that's just doing elephant challenge, and another that's doing pre-foreclosure. And he has his property finders working with him, but all of those will feed up to one or potentially more dispos that are managing those acquisition managers. But primarily, we just wanted to start with one so that we can make everybody successful with this one, with the foundation that they already pretty much have, that Pace has been helping us build, and then transition into a second. Jorge pulled this list and wanted to have this initiative. So we're going to give him a certain group of people to basically test this out, make it successful, and then we can expand it into other markets as it shows itself successful. You know, code violations lists are wonderful, but it's different than what all the property finders have been trained to do. And we don't want to make everyone start over. But for those that like may not have privy and they may not be able to afford it, well, that's an option for them. So we don't want to, you know, we just want that one spot to have that, you know, that one acquisition manager to do that with the ones that don't have privy, but everyone else to stick with what their training has already been founded on. Does that make sense? Cool. Any other questions? I feel like I'm leaving something major out just because it's so quiet. Alex, any comments?
No, I just, for me personally, I'm just happy for everybody to be here. And like we were discussing before, talking to your acquisition teams and your talking to us especially, we're open forum. And for anything that you need from us, feel free to contact us. If you have any information or anything that you come across that you may need help with, or that you see that we can improve on, feel free to reach out. We're open book, and we just want to make this process better and easier for everybody. So the more that we communicate and the more that we talk, again, it'll just make everything better for all of us, and we can only get better from there.
And on that note, you know, in the Discord, acquisitions only chat, your disposition people can see that. The owners can see that.
Mhm.
So if you start talking about something that your dispo people can't answer, that your manager can't answer, everyone's going to be able to see that to follow up with you on it. If you want to skip the general conversation, there's another channel called Ask the Back Office. I just named it that for the heck of it. That's basically just for the owners. So if you think it's a high level thing and it's not something to really, you know, chit chat about, bring it to a different channel that's more appropriate to the people you want to talk to. Each category is specific to those groups. So yes, I can see everything. I'm God, fine. I can see everything, but I can't pay attention to everything. So that's why you have the channels and the categories so that you can talk to or work with the people that are doing the same work you're doing or are supporting you doing that work. So if you have any questions about that structure, talk to those people. They'll escalate to me, or I may just see the question myself. Because I try to read everything, but I can't. So just put it out there. Transparency is the key here. If we don't communicate, it's just there's gonna be a breakdown. And if you're the one not communicating and everyone else is, this might not be the best fit for you, because we're trying to share it for everyone, for everything. I like to use a phrase that it comes from an old family story, but the phrase comes down to everyone gets a seat at the table and everybody eats. So if you bring people in, like, you don't have to, like, it's one thing if you do work by helping someone external to this somehow, and then they bring a deal in, maybe you get an extra piece of that deal in some way, shape, or form. But we really just want to bring more people in, because everyone in that flow gets, it's pyramid, MLM, it's not like that. Everyone gets paid because we're all bringing in deals to work together on. So if you bring in more people finding deals who eventually graduate and become acquisitions, or you graduate and go into dispo, everyone's making money. Like, how, I don't see how there's an issue there. No one has to buy any products. Well, I guess except for privy, but that's not really, that's not like a MLM level. Like, you got to commit to this kind of thing. It's like, no one has to buy products. No one's selling anything. We're literally buying properties and selling properties that everyone benefits from. There's no creams, there's no oils, there's no subscriptions, there's none of these weird things. It's just, we are one collective of people all working together. So, like, bring more people in, because it's going to benefit you. And
Not pink Cadillacs either.
yeah, let's
Yeah, Mike, you're really just talking about that abundance mentality, right? I love Bob's sentiment. I'm a competitive person too, and there's so much room for being competitive and driving that kind of fun culture. But the really cool thing about what we're doing here is rooted in abundance. And like Mike said, and I don't think can be said any better, is like everybody gets a seat at the table and everybody gets to eat. And I love building things and watching them grow and flourish. And you guys will be positioned to be able to watch your teams do that as well. It's a really exciting thing if you've never had that opportunity before. I had a question from a few minutes ago. Do we want to bring up, and this may be too early because we don't have any deals in the funnel yet, but if you haven't worked with a TC before, this is kind of on that same vein of like, you know, all the different people involved in the processes. You folks will be bringing the TCs into the conversation at some point in your process, right? So just want to kind of place that there, that thought in your mind, and that at some point in your process, you want to be collaborating with a TC. There's a chance that people on this team can do the TC paperwork themselves, but just want to plant that seed there as well.
Thank you, Lynn. And I did put out in the TC group within sub 2, if anybody wants to join us as a TC. I did get one response back, and Alex and I are going to be talking to them. We're going to need a whole lot more than one after we start flowing. And initially the flow will be a little bit slower. And to Lynn's point, as the flow is slower, you might have a little bit more time on your hands, and you might be able to do TC if you're familiar with how to do that. And you know, if you want to take a double paycheck because you're doing acquisition and you're doing TC, or even a triple because you're doing Gator, there's no problem with that when you have the time available. In the end, we want you to be able to focus on your role. And you know, once the machine starts flowing, we think that you're going to be, your plate's going to be full with negotiating and closing and helping out your team. And you won't be able to have the time to do TC. But initially that might not be the case. And to Lynn's point, if you want to do TC as well, if it makes sense and you have the training, the background, we're totally fine with that. Or if you, like Lynn said, if you know somebody that is TC, bring them our way because we're looking for more.
The really cool thing is once we get this puppy firing on all cylinders, there shouldn't be any hesitancy to engaging a TC because there's going to be so much momentum, right? And the TC is really that one that's going to make sure that we don't miss that 10-day inspection period and EMD is protected and all these different things. And that's going to be their sole focus. So if you haven't worked with one before, embrace it because it's a beautiful thing to have on your team.
Absolutely. There's a lot of work that goes behind a TC. It's, you know, I talked to the one, well, I didn't talk to him, but he sent his information in and he said he can do, what was it, Alex? I think you said something like 6 to 10, 7 to 10.
Yeah, 7 to 10.
7 to 10 deals a month. That's, you know, the workload of a TC. They can't do 30 or 40 because there's a lot of work to do. If they have a team behind them, sure. But if they're solo, they can't really do that much. So, you know, you guys as acquisition, you have your workflow too. So after we get this machine flowing and rolling, your plate's going to be full closing deals. And we want you to be able to do, you know, as many deals as you can every month, because that's every new deal is more workflow. But if you're divided between TC and closing deals, you're not going to be able to close as many deals. So just keep that in mind, you know, and initially maybe some TC if you have time available, but long term, we want the acquisitions to focus on acquisition, dispo to focus on dispo, and TC to focus on TC. That way we maximize our deal flow. Lynn, anything else you want to contribute? Because you are the one that's going to keep this whole team smooth.
I'm really excited. I think I said this on the meeting with the dispo managers, and I think this is even more, it's true for all of us, but I think this needs to be so like ingrained in the culture of your teams that you're going to build. Look, and I mean, I have, I say that I'm a recovering corporate employee. I'm almost out of my, you know, what your therapy sessions, like being an entrepreneur is really a healing process for that. But there are some things that I learned in that part of my life that I think makes a lot of sense, even in the entrepreneurial spaces. You will build a culture, even if you don't intentionally build a culture. So it's like that phrase, not making a decision is making a decision, or no response is a response, that kind of thing. So don't accidentally create a culture on your team by not creating a culture. And so by being, you know, following all these principles and guidelines that have already been kind of laid out today, and the processes that Mike is putting together, they're not meant to be restrictive. They're meant to be efficient and saving you a ton of time and energy as well. Giving you the visibility to what your team is functionally doing, but then having that rapport that you're building with them and the meetings that you'll have with them, funneling up, making sure that there's a funnel and a way to communicate that benefits everybody, and building relationships with your team personally. I think we're going to learn a lot over the next few weeks together. So many people on this team already have a lot of experience, but this is a new venture, right? We're going to learn a lot together. And I think we need to share that information. And what we start with today, the picture of who we are today, is going to look very different in 6 months. And I think that's a good thing. We want to continue to evolve and grow. So make sure you're open to communication and feedback from your team, and fielding that, and then funneling that to the rest of the leadership team, so that we can shape this for the whole. As we open up more markets, we want to make sure we're duplicating in the most efficient way. But yeah, I think make sure that I said this on the Dispo call, your team, the property finders, that's going to represent the largest number of our team members and the roles on this team. And they're also going to be the most front facing, and they're going to need the most nurturing. They probably have the least amount of experience. And so if you don't have an answer, raise your hand and let one of us help you figure out how to support them and continue to move them forward. All right. So we're here to help. We're all here to put this thing together collectively. No superheroes except for maybe Mike Jones. So
Mike.
we're gonna have to get him like a little superhero t-shirt and a sub-2 hat. But yeah, there are, you know, we're all communicating in the background too, me and Alex and Mike and Ralph, about, and Miss Pre's on here somewhere, which is Alex's wife. We are constantly communicating about ideas and things as well. Don't hesitate to surface those things up, because just because you don't see it developing in the moment doesn't mean we aren't already kind of like talking about it, or if we need to start thinking about it in the background. All right. Glad you're all here. Excited to work with you.
Yes, absolutely.
100%. And on the email side, we're going to be sending you more correspondence shortly on that. We're still working it out, but basically you'll be able to email through Gmail. I think I mentioned that in the onset, but please be patient. Within a day, hopefully by the end of the day, we'll get you that Loom video so that you can get set up with your emails. And you know, the next meeting is in 10 minutes with the property finders, and we invite you all to be present if you can. They're your people. As acquisitions, they're your property finders. So if you can be in that meeting, you can contribute, you can see what training they got, and that will help you to be able to guide them as we move forward. Alex, anything else?
No, that's it. Again, thanks to everybody for being here. I'm excited seeing all these faces and seeing what we have in store for the future. Again, just communicate and let everybody help each other, and let's grow something special from here, guys.
Thank you all. Any other comments before we go? We really look forward to working with all of you. I'm sorry, J family, we'd love to hear your voice another time.
Is it working now?
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, there they are.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, we're super excited, ready to get started, man. We're ready to start making money with you guys and growing with this fat juicy deals. So
Right
yeah,
on.
Awesome.
can't wait to get
Awesome.
started.
Glad to hear it.
All
Anybody
right,
else?
guys. See you in a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
All right,
Bye-bye.
Bye.
bye guys.